The Spanish monarchy. A family the world thinks it understands. A palace where everything appears calm, polished, rehearsed. But tonight, something shifts. A detail hidden in plain sight. A moment no one expected. And suddenly, whispers turn into theories, theories into headlines, and headlines into one unavoidable question: is a royal wedding quietly taking shape behind closed palace doors? What if the signs were never about rumors at all, but about a reality unfolding right now? For months, Spain has watched subtle movements inside Zarzuela Palace with a mixture of fascination and confusion. Small gestures, carefully orchestrated appearances, unusual scheduling changes, none dramatic on their own, but together, forming a pattern too deliberate to ignore. At the center of the speculation is Princess Leonor, the heir to the Spanish throne and the future queen. A young woman who carries not only the weight of a crown but the expectations of a nation. And recently, everything around her has changed, quietly, softly, but unmistakably. It began with a routine event. A simple family appearance that should have been like any other. But it wasn't. Viewers noticed something instantly: Leonor looked different. Not in the superficial sense. Not just fashion or posture. It was the way she carried herself. A kind of calm confidence, the kind that comes from inner certainty. A shift so subtle that at first people couldn't explain it, only react to it. But soon, the palace watchers began to identify the details one by one. Why was Queen Letitia's attention unusually focused on her eldest daughter that day? Why was King Felipe stepping just half a pace behind Leonor instead of guiding her forward? And why did Princess Sofia keep glancing toward Leonor with a knowing smile, almost as if holding a secret she wasn't allowed to say? These were small actions, brief moments, but they created the first curiosity loop. If nothing was happening, why did everything feel like something was happening? The next sign arrived quietly, through protocol. The royal household updated a segment of Leonor's public duties, adjusting her schedule in ways that suggested preparation for something larger. Engagements more symbolic than practical. Meetings that hinted at long-term planning. Unexpected invitations from influential cultural, diplomatic, and European institutions. To the casual observer, everything seemed normal. But to those who study royal patterns, these changes were unmistakable. They were foundational moves, the kind that usually unfold before significant life moments. Next came the moment that turned whispers into real buzz. A gala event. Cameras flashing, guests arriving, a hall overflowing with diplomats, aristocrats, and government officials. When Princess Leonor stepped into the room, everything paused. Not because of her dress, though it was elegant. Not because of her entrance, though it was poised. But because of one unmistakable detail: her interaction with a particular guest. A young man, well known in certain circles but never before highlighted by the Spanish press. Their exchange was brief. Respectful, polite, but there was something undeniably warm in the way Leonor acknowledged him. Something familiar, something that suggested this was not their first conversation. Immediately, speculation exploded across Spain. Who was he? Why was Leonor speaking to him with such ease? And more importantly, why did the Queen's expression shift at that exact moment, not with alarm, but with a kind of restrained pride? Viewers replayed the clip again and again, searching for clues. Some argued it meant nothing. Others insisted it meant everything. But the palace offered no clarification. Instead, they issued a statement that only deepened the mystery. The Princess of Asturias continues to prepare for the next chapter of her public life. No elaboration, no denial, just enough ambiguity to keep the nation watching. Then came the private family trip. Unannounced. Unexplained, recorded only through small hints: a guard schedule adjustment, a car spotted leaving Zarzuela at an unusual hour, a diplomatic source mentioning a family matter related to long-term planning. The details were vague, incomplete, almost contradictory. And yet everything pointed toward a single possibility: a meeting, perhaps even an introduction, meant not for public eyes but for family acknowledgement. Royal families rarely make sudden moves. When they do, it is always for something important. And then, the piece that changed everything: Queen Letitia's unusual public remark during a visit with young students. A simple comment, spoken with a smile, but carrying enormous weight. She said that, every family eventually reaches new moments, new beginnings, and new bonds. She did not mention Leonor by name. But the timing was impossible to ignore. Suddenly, the Whisper network activated again. Analysts started reviewing every recent royal appearance, every facial expression, every photo angle. They searched for hidden details. And they found them. First, Leonor's jewelry choices shifted. More mature pieces. Symbolic pieces. One bracelet in particular, small but meaningful, worn across multiple events. No official explanation. But jewelry often tells royal stories long before press releases do. Second, King Philippe's interactions with his daughter became notably more gentle. Still formal, still traditional, but carrying a softness that felt paternal rather than merely royal. The kind of softening kings display when preparing to let their daughters step into the next phase of life, not as children of a king, but as adults forming homes of their own. But the most striking sign came from Princess Sophia. During a family outing, she stood close to Leonor, whispering something that made both sisters smile in a way that felt private, personal, and deeply heartfelt. It wasn't the usual playful sibling moment. There was emotion in it. As if she were offering reassurance. Or congratulations. Or perhaps simply acknowledging a shift that only the family knew fully. Cameras captured the moment. Viewers replayed it endlessly. And the theories intensified once more. But here is where the story deepens. Rumors alone cannot sustain nationwide attention. What sustained it was the pattern, a consistent, credible pattern pointing toward the possibility of an upcoming royal union. Not announced, not confirmed, but quietly, steadily taking shape behind the scenes. Royal historians began comparing these signals to past precedents, from King Felipe and Queen Letitia's early hints, to European royal engagements that unfolded discreetly before the world knew. And the similarities were difficult to ignore. Then another curiosity loop opened. During a recent royal event, Leonor was asked a simple question by a young girl: "Do you think you will get married someday?" Most royals deflect such questions with humor or protocol. But Leonor paused. She smiled. And instead of brushing it off, she replied softly, "Life has its moments. And each arrives when it must." A response so poetic, so intentional, that it immediately reignited every theory. If she wanted to shut down speculation, she could have. But she didn't. Instead, she offered an answer that suggested acceptance, or anticipation. And now comes the question viewers around the world are asking: are we witnessing the early signs of a future royal wedding? And if so, why now? Why this timing, this secrecy, this steady buildup of subtle signs? The truth may be simpler than the theories. Leonor is entering a turning point in her life. A future queen stepping into adulthood, shaping her identity, and forming connections that will influence the monarchy for years to come. Every movement around her is being carefully choreographed, not to hide a story, but to protect one. To let it unfold naturally, respectfully, and wisely. Yet the palace cannot control the public's curiosity, nor should they. Because what Spain is witnessing now is more than royal gossip. It is a story of change. Of growth inside the monarchy. Of a family adapting to modern expectations while preserving centuries of tradition. The Spanish people have watched Leonor grow from a shy young girl into a confident future queen. They have seen her take oaths, led ceremonies, train in the military, and rise to her responsibilities with extraordinary grace. And perhaps now, they are witnessing the beginning of the next chapter. One that could redefine the future of the Spanish crown. But the biggest curiosity loop remains: if all these signs are pointing toward a private relationship, or even a potential engagement in the long term, why hasn't the palace said anything? The answer lies in royal strategy. Announcements come only when multiple layers of approval converge: family, government, tradition, and timing. Until then, everything remains quiet. Controlled. Hidden in gestures, glances, and symbolic details the public is only now learning how to read. And so the buzz continues. Each new appearance adds a new question. Each smile adds a new theory. Each moment between Leonor and her family adds a new layer to the unfolding story. Viewers wait. Analysts study. And Spain watches with growing anticipation. Because whether the palace confirms it or not, the signs are undeniable. Something is shifting inside the Spanish monarchy. And it feels like the quiet, luminous beginning of a moment that will one day become history. And tonight, you have seen the hints for yourself. No official announcement, no grand reveal, but the truth is woven through every gesture, every appearance, and every subtle shift in the royal family's behavior. Something beautiful is forming, something the palace is not yet ready to announce, but no longer fully able to hide. The world is waiting, Spain is watching, and the story is only just beginning.